Arc Raiders just got its biggest update since release. But Cold Snap is also much more than just a seasonal winter update. It's Embark quietly answering a way bigger question. What kind of game is Arc Raiders actually trying to be? And yeah, we're gonna be covering all the big apparent changes, your snowstorms, footprints and all that, but buried under all the snow is something much more interesting. A clear shift in design philosophy, which tells us a lot about what kind of experience they're slowly steering this game towards. Cold Snap adds a new Snowfall map condition. You have reduced visibility, footprints you can track, frozen surfaces, and a new Frostbite mechanic that slowly drains your health if you stay exposed outdoors too long. While this might seem like a realism thing where they're trying to make the game more immersive, well, it does definitely achieve that. It's much more about making your decisions and your movements on the map matter strategically. You can now no longer sit in the open forever or disengage and escape endlessly. If you get pinned down outdoors, the environment itself starts working against you. That's about forcing movement and decision. In my opinion, a great addition to a game that can sometimes suffer from campy, bratty behavior, especially with that third-person camera. I can't wait to see how this is going to impact the gameplay and the meta and how people behave in general. This could honestly go either way. Well, on the one hand, these kind of more dangerous environments might encourage some people to work together. Others might use this opportunity to abuse the fact that their fellow raider might be put in a disadvantage and that you can also now exactly track where they're running and that they cannot hide forever.
Hello there. Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm just looking at the snow.
But let's now jump back to the shift in design philosophy that I was talking about at the start. Looking over these patch notes, I do see somewhat of a shift in where the friction of the game lies. Now, to be clear, they're not trying to make the game easier, but they're changing where the difficulty lives. How much punishment progression should carry and how much of our creators is supposed to feel demanding without feeling exhausting. Cold Snap doesn't solve every problem this game has, of course, but it does show what Embark is actively rethinking, and that's where this update actually matters to me personally. So let's now take a look at how they're changing how much long-term punishment the game attaches to learning, experimenting, and simply playing imperfectly. The biggest example of this is the new skill tree reset. To be clear, I'm not just talking about the expedition, which lets you reset your skill tree and start from scratch. No, this is much bigger. You can now reset every skill point anytime for as many times as you like for only 2,000 credits. This is huge. Before this update, early decisions could follow you for a very long time. Experimenting with your hard-earned skill points came with a real risk. If you built a skill tree that was inefficient, or maybe you even just understood one of the nodes, that was it. You were cooked and you had to live with your horrible decisions for the rest of your life. These kind of brutal long-term consequences of decisions you made early on do not make for enjoyable game design. I have enough of that in real life when I have to pay child support every month. A complete skill tree reset to erase all of your past mistakes only costs around 150,000 credits, which let me tell you is a lot cheaper than all the legal fees and the cost of the paternity test I had to take. You can also see this improved philosophy echoed in the other seasonal content. Flickering Flames, Candleberry Banquets, and the new Raider deck all reward participation rather than optimization. You earn rewards and progress simply by playing, and not by min-maxing one specific activity, looking at you trials, or grinding RNG. On top of that, there will be a new Raider deck coming soon, and all of the Raider decks are permanent. So no cringe FOMO marketing. I can't believe it. Let's now quickly touch on the expedition system, which finally is open. Arc Raiders expeditions basically let you wipe your entire character, but gain permanent rewards in exchange. When the community heard earlier on that the expedition rewards will only stay till the next expedition, people were kind of concerned. Because you could put a lot of time into the game, then basically erase all your progress just for all the extra benefits you gained by basically erasing all your progress, to be then again erased the next time there's an expedition. So it would all feel kind of pointless. Now we finally have a lot more clarity on what we actually get to keep. First of all, you can earn 1 permanent skill point for every 1 million coins in your total value, so that's stash and coins combined. This caps at plus 5 skill points, so 5 million, and it also stacks with future expeditions. Also gain 12 permanent inventory slots in your stash, which also stack. And of course, you also get to keep all the cosmetics you earned from the expedition alongside any other cosmetics you own. You also get to keep all the maps you unlocked, codex entries, trial ranks, and other leaderboard statuses, as well as any kind of currency that is not gameplay related. You complete the expedition, you also get a 5% XP boost, a 10% repair buff, and a 6% scrappy material increase, but those expired if you do not participate in the very next following expedition. One big thing that the community is still quite divided on is that you still lose all of your blueprints. Now, personally, I do believe that we should wipe blueprints, but I also think the way you earn them right now is just not fun, because currently most of the blueprints are just pure RNG. So if you actually want to grind for blueprints, you just load in over and over again with a safe pocket and you go scavenge through all the containers in some random but very specific locations, usually some place that some guy on YouTube or TikTok told you to go look because he found a Bobcat blueprint lying around in the trash bin there or something like that. But of course, because that guy on YouTube or TikTok told you to go look there for that Bobcat blueprint, you have 10 other very nice people sitting in a corner there, ready to blast you from the back. Is to some people going in completely without a loadout, just so they have one safe pocket, but then they're not even playing the game, because they're literally just running around with a hammer, like they're some kind of Fortnite character, and it's just horrendous. However, if there was a more fun, rewarding, skill-based way to earn the blueprints, maybe people wouldn't feel so bad about having those rewards wiped, because the actual path to getting them, the actual process, is enjoyable. That way, people might actually be more motivated to reset just because they want to relive that feeling of getting their favorite gun blueprint and doing something that is actually fun and rewarding. Let me real quick touch on something that probably only a handful of you are going to care about, but for me, and probably also the handful of you that do care, this is a huge thing. Okay, hear me out. You can now toggle ADS on mouse and keyboard. Before, you had to hold down your right mouse button to stay scoped in. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal with it? But I'm sure some of you out there understand it. If you have been playing FPS for years and you've always used the same technique, needing to all of a sudden hold down ADS just feels so wrong. This was even more annoying for me because I've been playing on a super lightweight 3D printed 22-gram mouse. Holding down ADS on such a lightweight device really changes how it feels to aim. It's one of those things that made me think more deeply about how hardware and game design quietly interact with each other. If you're interested in weird experimental input devices like this 3D printed skeleton mouse, I've actually made a full unsponsored and unbiased review of the XeroMouse Blade, which, depending on when you're watching this, should be showing up in the sidebar right now. Now, putting my personal unhealthy obsession with gaming mice aside and coming back to our creators, what is actually huge about this change is that it really shows how much Embark is listening to the community. Because since launch, there have been a lot of people complaining about this specific issue. And I'm so passionate about this that I actually wrote my own feedback form about this a while back. And I just heard back from them a few hours before this update dropped. And while it might seem pretty depressing to get excited by an automated response from a gaming company, you have to keep in mind that I have absolutely no friends. But more importantly, this goes to show that any kind of feedback you submit to Embark gets properly stored, categorized, and processed internally. Looking at all the small shifts Embark has made in this update, it's kind of showing me that Embark is slowly trying to separate challenge from friction. They're becoming more comfortable removing long-term punishment where it doesn't add depth, while keeping tension where it actually creates interesting decisions.